And so we're back with Harry Potter 2 for the PC. And now we're likely going to be interrupted by somebody.
Hi, Harry.
Hi, I found some bicorn horn to add to the potion.
Great. I'm still trying to find the location of the next ingredient, but I should have it tracked down soon. In the meantime, I'll go add this to the potion.
They're starting a dueling club and the first meeting is today. That could be interesting. Come to the Great Hall if you want to learn how to duel.
Fuck
So
yeah,
is
I
this
wanna
Fight
learn how
Club
to
for
duel.
wizards?
Yes.
But
This is also...
Ron told us about it, ergo he broke the first rule.
That's not Ron, actually, so Ron didn't actually break the rule.
Well, whoever the fuck that is. I don't care.
Whatever's the case, what is important is that I reflect the bullets and they do too.
Yes.
Can everyone see me? Can you all hear me? Excellent. I started Dueling Club to train you to defend yourselves. Dueling Club meets every day in the antechamber just outside the Great Hall. In Wizard Dueling, the object of the exercise is to incapacitate your opponent. There are 3 spells you may use in dueling. Rictus Sempra, which knocks your opponent back and reduces stamina. Mimble Wimble, which prevents your opponent from accurately casting their next spell. Expelliarmus, which reflects spells back onto your opponent. To select a spell, scroll through them by using the space bar or the right mouse button. To cast a selected spell on your opponent, press the left mouse button. You may build up the strength of Rictus Sempra and Mimble Wimble by holding the left mouse button down. Note that potion drinking and jumping during duels are prohibited. A pledge of Bertie Bott's every flavored beans is required to duel. The victor wins the opponent's beans. To challenge a student to a duel, simply walk up to them. If you have enough beans, you will be invited to duel. My assistant, Professor Snape,
I am your colleague, not your assistant.
has informed me that he knows a tiny bit about dueling and has graciously agreed to monitor the duels. And now for a brief demonstration. Mr. Potter, if you'd like to partner up with Mr. Weasley...
I don't think so. Time to split up the dream team, I think. Mr. Malfoy, come over here. Let's see what you can make of the famous Potter.
Thrashing, you will be a treat, Potter.
Very well then. One's at the ready. When I count to 3.
Scared, Potter. You wish.
1, 2, 3.
Today, Potter,
And
you
so...
have the pleasure of dueling the great Slytherin house.
By far the best part of this whole minigame is that Snape narrates everything that happens.
Amazing.
Expelliarmus!
And his voice actor just loves this job.
Rictus Sempra!
But yeah, the basic idea is you have 3 spells. Rictus Sempra, which does damage, Mimble Wimble, which is worthless, and Expelliarmus.
Slytherin makes a very well-timed hit.
And Expelliarmus, which will reflect bullets, and is very useful because the AIs are actually very good at reflecting them.
Expelliarmus!
Harry
Expelliarmus!
Potter has beaten Slytherin. How disappointing.
Serpent Sortia! Leave me alone! What was that?
Did Harry just hiss?
Oh my! That couldn't have been...
It couldn't be. Not him.
Parselmouth, Harry. You can talk to snakes.
Why does it matter?
It matters, Harry, because being able to talk to snakes was what Salazar Slytherin was famous for.
Oh no! Exactly! Now the whole school's going to think you're his great-great-great-great-grandson or something. But I'm not. Anyway, we'll see you later, Harry.
Bye, Harry.
Have fun with that existential crisis, Harry. Bye.
Harry lay awake for hours that night, wondering, could he be a descendant of Salazar Slytherin?
I won't be seeing you in herbology class. I'll be in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom working on the polyjuice potion.
I can't believe Hermione is skipping class. Well, we better get outside to herbology, Harry. Come on.
So apparently by
Yeah.
see you later, Harry, they meant see you in like 1 minute.
Yeah, after you go to sleep for literally 1 minute. We're not going to go to herbology.
course not.
Instead, what we're going to do is wander around here because there is one thing we can open with Scourge. They haven't opened yet. Because they put me in the dungeons. There's also a whole bunch of other things that I don't explore fully with the spells that I have currently. Because like there is no reason to go to the Great Hall. And you know, things can wait.
Of course.
But first of all, we're going to knock out all of the duels, because with just having 2 health bars, it's actually a lot more fun. Because once you have a lot more, it's just there is no thrill to it that they can actually kill you.
Right.
Potter, you will now duel a member of your own team. Don't expect any special treatment from them. I'm watching.
But yeah, there is one dominant method which you may have noticed already. The AI tends to get
From a fellow Gryffindor. How very disloyal.
there is a certain dominant technique which is to just walk slightly forward and cast your spell. The AI gets confused by that a lot.
Oh, they're dancing.
Yeah.
Or maybe they
it's-
just get scared. Maybe they're thinking like, oh shit, Harry's gonna like jump across the stage and punch me or something.
Mm-hmm.
May I now introduce your next opponent, Ravenclaw.
She doesn't have a name. She's just a Ravenclaw.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, eventually I will get into a I reflect bullets duel with somebody. Not now. And also all of the quotes they have going on there, they're glitched.
Aw.
That's like the only part of this game that I cannot get working correctly at all. It just displays some error message, or rather, if you pay close attention, it's hard for us to tell us here because the resolution is not exactly what it's supposed to be.
Hufflepuff will today duel the famous Harry Potter.
It just displays something like
He'll beat you if you let your guard down, Hufflepuff.
it just displays some kind of a message like this is where talking is supposed to happen or something.
Expelliarmus! Expelliarmus!
You actually beat Hufflepuff.
It gets pretty ridiculous with with some of the later fights.
We're so rich.
And we're gonna be even richer.
Oh.
my
So
initial-
much power.
My initial plan was actually just to get enough to get the upgraded broom. But then I kept going and finished off the whole thing. I just love this minigame so much.
You get to beat the snot out of children. It's the
Today,
best.
Potter,
No,
you
but
will
like
have the
actually,
pleasure of
like in
dueling
this
the great
case,
Slytherin house.
the controls are very good, like very responsive, and I would love there to be like an online version of this minigame.
Let that Potter get to you.
Like, you know,
Strike
so
him
you
back.
can play against an actual human opponent as opposed to, you know, figure out ways to mess around with the AI.
Right. I feel like
Slightly-
he needs glasses. I feel.
I feel like I'm masterfully dodging slightly to the left. So
Efforts
masterfully.
that no one can notice you're doing it.
Takes an undeserved hit.
Mm-hmm. In their eyes, I'm standing in one spot.
They don't see your subtle movements.
Potter get to you. Strike him
Yeah,
back.
I haven't explained why Mimblewimble is so worthless.
Harry Potter has beaten Slytherin. How disappointing.
All it does is it messes up the next spell you cast, which I could see it being useful if you have like a gigantic charge. Like if the opponent has a gigantic charge and then you hit them and they can't use that spell. But here's the problem. You can do the exact same thing if you hit them with Rictus Sempra, then they have to charge again.
Whoops.
And also, like, there is one aspect of it that's kind of
You will now
funny.
duel a member of your own team.
Each spell has like a whole bunch of mispronunciations that play whenever you get hit by it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Not another hit for Potter.
I love it.
That took away half his health.
Yeah, and that would have likely killed me if I messed up. Like, look, that the weakest spell took a fourth of my health.
How the hell
the-
did that not hit?
I'm watching you, Potter. Don't try to cheat.
I love it.
Snape, we're not cheating!
Has beaten a fellow Gryffindor. How very disloyal.
Yeah, so I could technically already afford the broom, but I can also keep going.
You can destroy everyone in this school.
Mm-hmm.
Just obliterate their self-confidence entirely.
Exactly. No wonder I am the main character.
Today, Potter, you will have the pleasure of dueling the great Slytherin house.
Not so great after all.
Since she's just kind of eating all of your spells.
Yeah, and she's only casting Mimblewimble. I
Eh,
eventually get hit on purpose just to show it off.
Slytherin takes an undeserved hit.
I love it.
undeserved hit.
Harry Potter has beaten Slytherin. How disappointing.
His commentary is the best part of this whole thing. But thankfully, you do get to skip every single part of this, like every single cutscene by pressing enter. Because eventually,
May I now introduce your next...
eventually you earned 200 beans from a fight, and waiting for all of that to transfer takes a while.
Moving bookcases now.
Yeah, this is the worst one because you can't actually do the I reflect bullets and me too strategy, because eventually they will just block the spell.
Yeah,
The moving
Why
pillars,
can't you
yes.
cast Flipendo Trio and just obliterate this kid?
And there is also a funny effect. If you cast at just the right moment when it's when the thing is just passing by, the spell will actually like upwards.
Yeah.
A hard blow given to that Ravenclaw.
And it also happens in one other case where it makes a lot more sense. There are also bookcases that will just float up from the space in between the fields, and it will happen when they move upwards and you happen to cast the spell at the wrong moment.
Wow.
What is wrong with with my amazing dodge skills to the left?
I know, right?
Yeah, I think it's just all of the Ravenclaws have bugged end quotes. I think that's just that.
Strange.
Today, Potter, you will have the pleasure of dueling the great Slytherin.
And these also move, just ever so slightly differently.
Instead,
In
they
the end,
kiss.
it's pretty much the same thing, really. But yeah, thankfully the AI does get smarter as you go through, but the same trick eventually still always works.
Eventually.
Yeah, like it's not foolproof.
Slytherin takes an undeserved hit.
You can also like kind of pong the Expelliarmus. The Expelliarmus thing when you just move to one direction and you know, Expelliarmus it, but it's very wonky with like it interferes with your timing, and also why would you do that? Unless you just really didn't want them to continue it, but in that case you just move to the right.
Right.
Let that Potter get to you. Strike him back.
Peekaboo. Ah. Fucking books.
I know. Yeah, like you can charge up this spell, but it does not do damage, like at all.
Useless.
Harry Potter has beaten Slytherin. How disappointing.
Like I think it does very little, but you will only ever see that kind of damage on you, but not on their health bar. It's like a pixel. Also, fun fact, if you force this game to work in widescreen, this minigame messes up horribly.
You will now duel a member of your own team. Don't
How come?
expect any special treatment from them.
This room isn't wide enough for widescreen, so to say.
Ah.
So like the camera becomes incredibly zoomed in.
Ah, not another hit for Potter.
Now rising and falling pillars.
Mm-hmm. Those are actually better because you can just stand in the middle if you want to apply the strategy of this. I remember them being a lot better at this,
Potter,
like
don't try to cheat.
at the I reflect bullets minigame. Or I just got better, or maybe because my monitor has less response time, it's easier.
Maybe. All I know is I'm sad that there's a cap on how big these beams get.
Me too.
Beaten a
I
fellow
wish they just
think-
kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger the more they were reflected.
This would be like a Dragon Ball like fight.
I know, right?
It just gets faster and faster as it goes on.
And
It
bigger
kind of
and
reminds
bigger.
me. It kind of reminds me of that game you showed me once, the Deaf Volleyball. It's very similar
Yeah.
in that regard.
Today, Potter, you will have
Yeah.
Which is why I thought of yeah. This is the hardest part because
to you.
you don't get
Strike him
to
back.
you don't get to avoid very easily. But if you keep moving, he can't hit you anyway.
Right.
But yeah, this is why I wish somebody made like a slightly upgraded version of this minigame and like made online play for it. It would be awesome.
Well, maybe whenever I get my online version of Bliss.
What is that?
The card game from Tales of Eternia.
Oh yeah, Wiz. I understood for some reason over Skype. I understood Bliss or something.
Strike
Yeah.
him back.
So I was like, what? I want to finish it in a climactic way, and you're not helping me with that.
And slither
I want
him
it to be
once
apocalyptic.
timed it.
But yeah, you seen that one was powered up a couple of times, but it did not do any damage.
Harry Potter has beaten Slytherin. How disappointing.
Yeah, like if they wanted to make it useful, it should work for at least few spells.
Right.
See, I'm the first one. I won everything.
Hooray!
No wonder I am the main character.
You just crushed a bunch of children's hopes and dreams.
Obviously.
Congratulations.
Everyone was just waiting there all the time. And now in the herbology, we'll get another spell that will help us get all of the things with the stuffs.
Hey Harry, want to trade?
What do you have?
I have a Nimbus 2001, the best model available to the general public.
Of course.
You are a most discerning shopper.
You could just
Sorry,
give it to
friend.
me, like, you know,
Now, come back later.
don't
It
have
looks
to
like he
throw it on
pushed
the...
you and then dropped it to the ground.
You can just give it to me. You don't have to throw it on the ground. I gave you money for it.
Right. Is this a skate ramp from Rocket Power?
Certainly looks like it.
Good old Hagrid's hut.
So all we get to do here is abuse some piggies, steal their beans. Yes, piggies eat jelly beans,
But you didn't know.
obviously.
Those pigs are pretty pissed. I would be too if some kid just ran up and stole my fucking dinner.
And you get to actually use Rictus Sempra on them.
That's pretty fucked up, man. Those poor pigs.
It actually is, and they can't do anything about it. They're like literally the only thing you can interact with that way. And it does not serve any purpose because they don't do anything about it. It's just cruelty, really.
That's just mean. Harry, you're fucked up.
Yeah, it is mean. It's not mean in a fun way, like abusing children during a play of Quidditch.
I know, right? Ugh.
This will probably never be relevant in our exploits. Yeah. It'll just be here in this very angular forest.
With a very angular hut.
It'll
Somehow
be
more
very-
angular than in the PS1 game.
An incredibly angular ground.
Hey, Hedwig.
Yeah. That's the one thing that the PS2, the console versions are better for. The graphics look a lot less angular. It's not something you say too much, but yeah.
What do you have?
I have flobberworm mucus.
Well, you can go fuck yourself.
Passing up a
Um,
bargain.
This was the weird time where the PS2 games still actually looked better than the PC versions.
Right.
Although at the same time, those are two completely different games, but you know, two games of a similar budget released at around the same time by the same company, you know.
Of course.
So it's not a completely unfair comparison. I guess you could say that just on the PS2 they didn't have to worry about people not being able to run it, and for the PC release they wanted to make sure that a little Timmy with his budget computer that his grandparents got him for his first communion was going to be able to run this game.
And even then, back in the day this was made, I don't think my computer could have actually run it.
I did. It was 4 megabytes of video RAM, 300 megahertz, and
Jesus.
roughly 32 megabytes of RAM. It was cute.
Why didn't you download more RAM?
It was a laptop.
I see.
A really shitty laptop at that. Like, the resolution on it was so small I wasn't actually able to play SimCity. Because I wasn't able to display all of the elements of the HUD on the screen at the same time. I had to scroll